Every day you wake up and you think to yourself, what if I took the risk today? What if I went after that thing that God has placed upon my heart with full force? You go throughout your day, you act on it a little bit, but you never see progress. Why is that? You know, God's going to test you just like a little child. He's going to see what happens when I place failure in his life. What happens when I place misfortune? What happens when I make his path a little bit harder than everybody else? And he does that for a reason. He doesn't do that to punish you. He does that to build you. He does that to make sure that you're ready for the blessing. And if you feel like you've been in this test phase for years and years and years and nothing's gone right in your life, that just means your blessing is going to be bigger. That's what you got to understand, bro. Everything you're going through in this current moment, a year from now will make sense. But if you never fight to earn that, then it will never make sense. You know, you got to detach from every problem in your life right now and realize that the biggest problems turn into the biggest lessons. You know, you might be struggling, you might be broke, you might be beat down, you might be lonely, but that's the biggest traits that build a leader. That's the biggest traits to your personal development, is the struggles that you've been through. You know, and I went through a lot in my life, but the biggest things that's moved me forward were my problems. Were growing up with no parents. I built a much better personality. I built a much better work ethic. I could have totally turned those thoughts into, oh, my life sucks. Why did God do this to me? You know, I have no parents. I have no backup plan. But I chose to rewrite my script and use it as motivation. Use the things in your life to push you forward. Don't think about them in any sort of negative way. Only think about them in the positive state. Your state of thinking and how you feel about yourself will directly push you forward or hold you back. There's no ifs, ands about it. So if God is like pulling you up and then pulling you back down, pulling you up, pulling you back down, that's a sign that he's about to elevate you to the next level, but you have to function higher on the lows. You know, just like a stock, bro. Bitcoin was at the bottom for years and years and years. And finally it exploded. Finally. And those people that bet on it at the lowest point are up big right now. That is you. That is you. And you have to believe that, because if you don't have the intention in your heart that you deserve it, if you don't have the intention in your heart that it's going to come to you, then it never will. But you have to understand, bro, that with God, all things are possible. That's like by far the biggest thing I have written everywhere. With God, all things are possible, because it is, bro. And everything's going to make sense in a couple years when you look back, but you have to keep moving forward. You have to keep moving forward. Use what's around you to build you. You know, if you're lonely right now, that's a sign that your personality needs to be developed in that stage. If you're broke right now, it's a sign that you're about to gain money, but you have to realize the value of the dollar. If you're sick, like I've been sick this week, it's made me realize how blessed we are to be healthy. How blessed are we that we get to wake up every single day, have these beautiful things around us, and get to build something from scratch every single day. We're blessed, bro. I'm blessed to be able to talk to you right now. I'm blessed to have this sun on me. You know, it's February. I'm blessed that I get to eat good food every day. You know, there's so many blessings, but you just have to look around and be grateful. Have gratitude for your current moment, and you'll be blessed in the future. You know, I truly believe that, like, God knows more than you about yourself. And he can tell to the depths of your soul whether you deserve something or not. And the only way you're going to deserve it is if you know, eat eat the scraps for a couple years and show them that, like, hey, I'm not going to quit. You know, you can give this to me. It's like a kid, right? If you wanted like something like a dirt bike or a four-wheeler, you're, as a dad, you're not going to give that kid, you know, a 450. You're going to give him like a 75 to start. You're going to give him a 250, then a 450. Then once he maxes out, you're going to make even more improvements. That's what God's doing with you right now. He's making sure you're ready for that level. But if you keep pushing yourself to the same point every single time and have to keep going back and relearning the same lesson, that is why your personal development's stagnated. That is why it feels like you make no progress. Is because every single time that God's ready to elevate you, you fall back to that vice. You go out with those same friends. You know, you engage in lust. You watch porn. And then he's like, well, can't do it. He was so close. So close. You're on a report card. And every action you take, God's grading you. And you have to push through those bad grades and get to the good ones so he can elevate you up a grade level. And that's generally how you should think about your life. You're like, all right, I got to lead myself first so I can attach others. All right, I got to show up for myself so others will show up with me. That's the same way. That's the same thing God's doing to you. So don't get down on your situation. Realize that it's all a blessing. It's all meant to elevate you. You just have to figure out the puzzle. You just have to like keep focused and just keeping on, honestly. No matter how depressed you are, no matter how lonely you are, you have to create opportunity by work ethic. You have to create opportunity by putting yourself out there and just keeping on, bro. But other than that, man, I love you. We out, man. Peace.